it's not going to happen, but I'm still interested in this as a topic. And it is, could Angel Reese be traded for a number 1 overall pick? Because I think a lot of people have predicted Angel Reese to be traded. And I've seen Angel Reese be traded to like the Portland Fire as a thing that some people have said. And I don't think that'll happen. I do not think we see Angel Reese being traded to an expansion team. However, Angel Reese being traded to for the number 1 pick, I think there's a little bit more merit.
The call that could rip through the WNBA has already started circulating quietly behind the scenes. Chicago is staring at the number 1 pick and Angel Reese is suddenly at the center of it, all the same player everyone crowned as untouchable, the face of the franchise, the one who revived the Sky brand, now caught in a moment where front office reality is clashing with public perception because behind closed doors the numbers, the fit and the future are raising serious questions. This is not noise. This is strategy, a calculated gamble to avoid a roster heading toward a ceiling nobody in Chicago wants to admit, and with the draft approaching fast, the Bayou Barbie might not just be part of the conversation, she might be the headline before the first name is even called.
For Angel Reese being traded to for the number 1 pick, I think there's a little bit more merit to this than people think. Reasons why, as much as anything, because she's probably worth the number 1 overall pick. And I personally think she's going to be cheaper. Yes, you're going to have to pay her in 2 years' time. But she is going to be cheaper short term than anyone is going to be at that number 1 pick. She is, I think it's, to get Angel Reese, you're paying about $370K a year.
Most fans still think this is impossible. They look at sold-out arenas, the jersey sales, the viral clips, and assume Angel Reese is locked in Chicago for the long haul, but professional basketball does not run on emotion, it runs on leverage and timing, and if you have a chance to turn one star into the number 1 overall pick plus a future haul, you do not hang up that call. You listen, Chicago has done this before. They have moved big names in their prime and left fans stunned, and if history tells us anything, it is that no one is truly off limits if the return is strong enough, and right now Angel Reese might be the next name that tests that reality.
And if you're the Minnesota Lynx, it's like, do you want to take Angel Reese with that 2nd pick, or do you want to use that pick on a player? And the reality is, like, I think the Lynx are a team that are a lot more likely to pull the trigger, because they are a team that really need, like, they need that that cap flexibility and the starter with cap flexibility, because they don't, like, the Dallas Wings don't actually have a player on their roster who is a rookie contract player that is going to play huge minutes outside of Dorka Juhas.
There is a real argument here that people are ignoring, and it starts with money, because right now Angel Reese might be one of the best value contracts in all of sports. You are talking about roughly $370,000 a year for a proven production player, while incoming top picks could push past $500,000 once everything settles. That gap matters, that is roster flexibility, that is championship building space, and for teams like the Dallas Wings or the Minnesota Lynx, this is not just theory, this is a real behind-the-scenes conversation about securing a double-double machine at a discount while everyone else is paying premium prices.
Angel Reese puts butts in seats. Not only that, the Sky are playing multiple teams in NBA arenas. The Sky are playing multiple teams in NBA arenas. They are playing multiple teams in situations where Angel Reese is not on this team. People aren't really going to watch. However, if it turns out that, you know, Angel's gone and you end up getting AZ, because AZ could be there too, or you have Olivia Miles, who I still don't think the Sky are going to take even if they get the number 2 pick, and they still have the number 5 pick. And not only that, like,
all eyes are on the Dallas Wings because they control the board, but that power comes with pressure. Their roster is crowded and still searching for a clear identity, and flipping the number 1 pick for Angel Reese instantly gives them a proven star, someone who already understands the spotlight and delivers impact in the paint. It is risky, no doubt, but it answers a need immediately, and while Dallas sits in the spotlight, they are not alone. The Minnesota Lynx are right there holding the number 2 pick and arguably even more motivated to strike a deal that protects their future while keeping their financial flexibility intact for the long run.
Or is it, what's... Oh, no, sorry, that's the Mystics. The Mystics own the Lynx pick because of the Carly Samuelson trade. But they might give you their 2027 pick. And if you're able to get the 2-pick 2027 pick for Angel Reese, you're at least able to sell that to fans, being like, look, she doesn't want to be here. Or like, she doesn't want to be here. We can get all these assets for her. Like, it is what it is. Like, this, it's not like the Sky haven't traded away a player way better than Angel Reese. Like, no offense to Angel Reese, Kalia Copper was better than Angel Reese, and they got Camila Cardoso for Kalia Copper. And let's not forget about did they get Cardoso and Anya? Was Anya?
If you are the Minnesota Lynx, this becomes a simple but brutal question. Do you gamble on a rookie at number 2, or do you take the certainty of Angel Reese? Right now, this is a team fighting to keep its core together, and every dollar matters. Bringing in Reese does not just add production, it saves over $100,000 in the short term, and that difference could decide whether a key veteran stays or walks away. It is not just a basketball move, it is a strategic play to stay competitive in the West while adding one of the most marketable players the league has ever seen.
Angel Reese. And they got Camila Cardoso for Kalia Copper. And let's not forget about did they get Cardoso and Anya? Was Anya Ware in that trade too? I can't remember, but they basically got Cardoso for Copper, and they gave up Elena Deladon. Like, they traded a prime Elena Deladon. They let Gabby Williams just leave. Like, they basically drafted Gabby Williams. Gabby Williams said, I have a French passport. I'm going to play for France. If that's a problem, don't draft me. They drafted her, and it was a problem that she played for France.
Minnesota is already signaling change, and the signs are getting harder to ignore, with Bridget Carleton likely heading toward Toronto and quietly removing the Lynx from her bio. That is usually the first domino to fall. Now the roster has to shift, and that opens the door for a move where Nafisa Collier slides to the 3 and Angel Reese steps into the 4 or 5, creating a defensive versatility most teams cannot match, but it only works if Reese develops the missing piece in her game, a consistent outside shot, because without it, the ceiling of that lineup becomes a real question.
Mainly because I don't think Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso fit well. Like, this is what I mean. It's like, for the Sky to win with Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, because the pieces don't fit, they both need to, as you've seen, like in game, they can win games when they both play exceptionally well. But when either of them plays badly, which is quite often, they lose. Like, you know a team fits and pieces fit when your star players can have an off game and the entire system around them can still function. Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese, if you looked at them playing, it's like either they were really good together and everybody else.
The biggest issue hanging over Chicago right now is spacing, and it is impossible to ignore because Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso are operating in the same space on the floor. This Twin Towers idea flashes dominance one night and stalls the next, and that inconsistency is the problem. If Reese cannot stretch the floor, defenses collapse, the lane clogs, and the offense becomes predictable. Maybe another system can hide that weakness, but in Chicago it is becoming a spotlight issue, and if the front office does not believe that shot is coming, they may decide the smartest move is to sell high before the value drops.
The Lynx get, basically, instead of taking the 2 pick, the Lynx get a better player than they would take at the 2nd pick. And they also would be in a situation where they save 100 and something K. They save 100K by getting a better player. And then in 2 years' time, when it comes time to pay Angel Reese, okay, we'll sign and trade Angel Reese. We'll give her a max and we'll sign and trade her as a restricted free agent if it doesn't work out. So yeah, could she be traded? Yeah, I think it's going to cost a lot, and it might.
Chicago is staring at a brutal reality because Angel Reese is not just a player, she is an entire business engine. She fills arenas, she drives national attention, she turns regular season games into must-watch events, and that is exactly why this decision is so complicated, because trading her is not just a basketball move, it is a financial shockwave. You are talking about losing ticket demand, losing visibility, losing the face that casual fans recognize instantly, but at the same time the front office has to look past the spotlight and ask a harder question: is this roster actually built to win? Because if the answer is no, then standing still becomes the bigger risk, and suddenly the idea of flipping Reese for assets starts to make sense, especially if names like AZ Fudd or Olivia Miles are part of the return players who can reshape spacing and unlock the offense in ways this current setup cannot provide, and that is where the tension explodes. Ownership sees revenue and star power while Management sees limitations and long-term ceiling, and those two visions rarely align cleanly, and if Chicago goes down this road, they cannot just make a small move, they need a massive return, multiple picks, future first-rounders, and ideally positioning themselves for a loaded 2027 draft so they can sell the story of a full reset to the fans, because history shows this franchise is not afraid of bold decisions. They moved Kalia Copper, they moved Elena Del Don, they let Gabby Williams walk. This is an organization that chooses direction over sentiment every single time, and the basketball side of this debate only adds more pressure because the fit between Reese and Cardoso has been inconsistent, at best dominant in flashes, but fragile when either one struggles, and that is not how championship teams are built. Great systems survive off nights, this one does not, and that raises another possibility. What if Reese herself eventually wants out? What if she sees a better path somewhere else? A system that amplifies her strengths and grows her brand, because modern stars do not wait around, they move when the situation no longer fits, and Chicago may be trying to get ahead of that scenario while her value is at its peak. And then you add expansion teams into the mix: Portland, Toronto, new markets, new demand, and suddenly proven stars become even more valuable, but expansion teams lack the assets to make this kind of deal, which shifts the focus back to contenders like Minnesota or Dallas, teams with both the capital and urgency to act right now. And as the draft clock ticks, the pressure builds, because one move could change everything, and if Chicago pulls the trigger, this becomes bigger than just a trade. It becomes the defining story of the draft, overshadowing even Caitlin Clark-level headlines and rewriting the direction of multiple franchises in a single night, because this league is evolving fast and teams that hesitate get left behind. So Chicago has a choice: hold on to the star and hope the fit improves, or make the move everyone says will never happen and chase a more balanced future. And if they do, not matter which side you are on, this will be remembered as one of the boldest, most controversial decisions in WNBA history.